Again a character with much potential who only got on our nerves in season 2. Like Charlotte, Ashley started to get interesting until they tried to give her a new backstory and introduce her as a short-lived love interest for Daniel. At first I thought she would be very much boring cause her character was that stereotyped.
I want your life.
You love your life.
Yeah, you're right, I just want your money.
You want to get drunk on cheap margaritas later?
With or without you.
But later as she schemed together with Tyler and Victoria, Ashley got more interesting. Not at least because she was, besides Victoria, the only person at the beginning of the show who dared to criticize Emily for her behavior.
Ashley,
please don't say you're sorry. You so clearly are not. I don't know what's going on with you lately, but you're becoming a real grade A bitch.
must be awful realizing that you spent the entire summer dating Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
He's not a monster, Emily. He's sick. It's called empathy. You might want to try a little.
So her storyline was promising in season 1. Yet again season 2 did Ashley no favor by giving her more and diverse directions in which the character could have been developed. But let's begin with her crappy backstory. In season 2, they obviously wanted to expand the storylines not only around the major but also the minor characters. So Ashley, who was introduced as Emily's only friend in the Hamptons and ambitious assistant of Victoria Grayson, got a past with Emily, too.
You're trembling. Dimitri will like this. Lean off your face and let me look at you again.
It's your first time, isn't it?
I don't need friends, I need money.
There are other ways to make money.
Do you think I'd be doing this if I hadn't tried everything else? An MFA in art history is useless in this town. I just want to pay my rent. Maybe get a job in a gallery somewhere.
Then do that.
Only she did not know that Emily was the one who saved her from living a life as a high-class prostitute. Too bad she did not see Emily. Would have been far more interesting if she had got to know Emily back then. That could have been a game changer. Especially with Aiden around. Who was someone mysterious from her past, too.
Doesn't suit you.
What? The bow tie or the Russian accent?
Both.
What's your fancy? Conrad.
Vodka.
You got a name?
Yeah. Sergei Lovsky.
No, that doesn't suit you.
What?
Your profession.
Ashley knowing her not as the beloved socialite would have been just the amount of danger and thrill for Emily that season 2 needed. Since Emily already changed her name as she was on her mission for Takeda, Ashley would have not known her real identity. No danger here, but she would have been suspicious why an undercover agent or cop, which Emily surely appeared to be, would return to the Hamptons under a new identity. Maybe she would have assumed that Emily was now undercover as a socialite. Ashley could have assumed Emily was building a case against the Graysons. They even could have gone so far that Ashley would have been installed by Emily as Victoria's assistant to get information from the inside. Emily could have used the same trick she used with Pascal, pretending to be a federal agent who investigates the Graysons and their business practices. Ashley could have warned the Conrad and Victoria, showing her loyalty by secretly working against Emily. Then Aiden's doubts about her would not have been a red herring, yet had a real base. The options to explore this complicated relationship and the mistrust and deceiving on all sides could have been endless. Instead they went for the obvious. Ashley was just jealous of Emily and her life as a wealthy socialite.
Meanwhile, Emily gets an engagement ring and the keys to the kingdom.
Which brings us to Ashley's defining character traits and relationships. Her most defining feature is ambition.
Wow, Ash, that dress is criminal.
Thank you. It's my dress to impress outfit. I've basically shunned my best friend all summer in favor of worming my way aboard the SS Queen Victoria.
She is only friends with Emily cause she is offering her benefits.
If I screw this up, I might as well move back to Croydon.
Well, how much are the tickets?
10,000 a pop.
Count me in for one.
Are you sure?
It's for a good cause, right?
Yeah, my career. Thank you.
Emily seems in a way like Nolan pay for her friendship. Just she does it by inviting Ashley to go partying with her on Emily's tap. A more elegant way to bribe her than Nolan's attempt to buy Jack's boat and blackmail him into being his friend for the summer. By the way, why did they not make us invest in her friendship with Ashley before they destroy it? Or is she just there to show off Emily's skills in manipulating people that are not as suspicious and cautious as Victoria is? Anyway, neither in the pilot nor later this friendship seems real. They only talk about the Graysons and it seems as if Emily is only friends with Ashley to get close to Victoria.
And that is Queen Victoria.
I think she spotted you.
Introduce us.
Just wanted to introduce you to a dear friend of mine, Victoria Grayson, Emily Thorne.
Hello, Mrs. Grayson.
Ah, Miss Thorne. I was wondering who the late entry was on the guest roster.
Well, Emily's new to the Hamptons, but she really wanted to take part in your fundraiser.
Oh, how do you two know each other?
We volunteered together at the Met this winter. Apparently, being a sustaining patron just wasn't enough for Emily.
So again, it would have been cool if they made up a real backstory here and made Emily install Ashley as Victoria's assistant so she can feed her information. Okay, that would have diminished Daniel's role as Emily's golden ticket into the Grayson family. But Ashley could have been some kind of backup. In season 2, when Emily and Daniel were separated, this could have been a real game changer. Anyway, Ashley's ambitions seem to be higher than the Graysons. 'Cause she uses the first opportunity to get a new and better job than just being a party planner and personal assistant.
And yet you continue to work for the Graysons.
I come from a town called Croydon, just outside of London. Population, no one cares, and dropping. I want more out of life than planning parties and making sure other people's lives run smoothly, but for now, it's my job.
You play your cards right, you can parlay Daniel's trial into a whole new career. I think you already know that.
It seems she only endures the job to get either a good recommendation or dirt on the Graysons to blackmail them. And when Tyler comes along, he has a very bad influence on her. Only to back up her most bad thoughts on Emily and the Graysons in general. Fueling her hatred and nutrition her ambition by his own plans.
Whole loyal employee thing is just an act.
My loyalties lie with Ashley.
You see how these people are? They smell blood in the water and you're as good as dead.
I can't stand that woman.
What'd she do now?
It's not what she's done, it's who she is. People like us are disposable to people like them.
No kidding.
Don't even get me started on Emily.
You know she's the worst of them all, right? I mean, at least Victoria will look you in the eye and tell you you're not good enough, but Emily will just think it and hide behind that condescending smile of hers. Our problem is, we've been playing way too nice.
On the other side, this could have been a real intriguing plot going over several episodes. I hate that she is not more involved in Tyler's scheming. Revenge tends to be very old school and some kind unprogressive how they show us dynamics between ambitious men and women. Emily, Margot and Victoria are the only real exception here. All the minor female characters, even Fomanda, tend to be a damsel in distress who has to be saved by a man. Okay, Ashley is no damsel, but she needs to be saved or at least protected from the violent behavior of Tyler. 'Cause like he was to Nolan, Daniel and Emily, he could have been a real danger to Ashley as well if she got in his way. Instead of this well-known pattern, they could have been a good team. Not necessary in a romantic way since they hooked him up with Nolan very fast, but it would have been fun to see them plotting and scheming against the Graysons and Emily. But I guess the episodes of season 1 were already filled with so much of Emily's scheming and the backstories of her targets that they found no place for this side plot. And I guess they did not yet want to make Ashley that bad. 'Cause she stayed for season 2 while Tyler was killed off in the flash-forward episode. So they had to give her space to develop a more mischievous character in the second season. And I think in some kind she kinda have replaced Tyler, but not in a good way. Since she got a crush on Daniel, too. Yet not as obsessive as Tyler. Which could have been, by the way, a very cool side plot for Emily and Daniel. Instead of this lame love triangle with her Daniel and Aiden. Since it became more and more obvious that she was more into Aiden than into her ex-fiancé. Anyway, Ashley might not be as crazy as Tyler, but she surely is that much ruthless. She has no qualms spying on Emily for Victoria, and in season 2 spying on her new boyfriend Daniel for Conrad.
So how's my boy?
Not himself. I did everything in my power to distract him, but he wasn't biting. Is this something that we should be worried about?
The only thing that you should be worried about is keeping him away from that investors meeting today.
In both seasons we see her changing loyalties and teams from one minute to the next. Whatever serves her best. So they could have surely made her to one of Emily's adversaries. Not only in a romantic sense. And a bitch fight over Daniel would have been fitting for the soapy character of the show, which got more and more out of control in season 2 and went in a totally different direction.
She was engaged to a man that I had feelings for, while she clearly had feelings for you. She always seems to get what she wants. People like them always do.
And when Ashley was so smart to use the kiss between Emily and Jack she had seen by the end of season 1. To break up Daniel and Emily and took her chance.
I heard about you and Emily. I'm so sorry, Daniel. I made a mistake telling you, didn't I?
Well, it's better to find out that my fiancée is cheating on me before she's my wife. Good to know you've got my back.
Always have.
And to blackmail Emily with this in season 3.
Knowledge is power, Emily. And since I know how you still feel about him, I will stop at nothing to expose you to the Graysons for the fraud you really are.
Would have known Emily was secretly seeing Aiden behind Daniel's back. That could have really leveled the playfield for her. She would have had 3 opportunities to damage Emily's reputation and destroy her in the eyes of Daniel and the Grayson family. First and most obvious, she could have gone straight to Victoria and Daniel, telling them how Emily fooled them and was only toying around with the Grayson golden boy. Second, she could have tried to seduce Aiden and take him away from Emily as she did with Daniel in the season 1 finale. Just to hurt her and get even because Emily took Daniel away from her. The last option would have been the most dangerous for Emily and Aiden if Ashley spied on her like she was spying on her and Daniel. If she really tried to get behind Emily's secret, that would have had the potential to destroy Emily's whole revenge agenda. And it is not so far-fetched for Ashley to connect the dots like Victoria did by the end of season 3. Even for her, it must have been suspicious how eager Emily was to win Daniel back in season 2. Let's say she believes like Victoria that Emily is only out for the Graysons' money and social status. Why should she put such an effort with Daniel and did not move on to another wealthy family? And in contrast to Victoria, who always was suspicious about Emily's social status, Ashley knows that Emily is in no need of the Graysons' money. She has plenty of her own. Maybe Ashley could have thought that this was Emily's act and she is a con artist who did the same trick a million times before. But why should she not involve Ashley in her plans? They could have worked together. Especially since Ashley was Emily's entree into the Grayson family circle by introducing her to Victoria. So in my opinion, Ashley knew all along that Emily was fake and despised the Graysons in a similar way as she and Tyler did. If she had sticked around for season 3, I think her unanswered questions about Emily's motives to stay in the Hamptons and pursue Daniel and the whole Grayson family could have meant more trouble for Emily than Nico and Lydia together. And if she happens to uncover more than Emily's secret affair with Aiden again, she could have ruined her whole revenge plan. Especially if she was out for Emily's blood after she and Victoria tried to get rid of her in the first episode of season 3. She could have turned to Conrad for help. Instead of Sarah, she could have been the ex-girlfriend who stirs up trouble for Emily and Daniel. Like in season 1, she could have helped Victoria. And they both could have tried to get behind Emily's hidden agenda with the Graysons. Would have made more sense than turning Charlotte suddenly against Emily. But I guess she should have filled the gap that Ashley left. Since neither Lydia nor Nico were supposed to stay longer on the show. Which brings us to Ashley's relationships, and since she is only a minor character with not that much screen time, it is astonishing how much touch points she has with almost everybody of the main cast. Her most important relationship is of course with Emily and the Graysons, since they are her employees and Emily seems to be her best friend. Like most TV shows, the minor characters lack of more and diverse friendships, so it is no wonder that Ashley has no other contacts than the ones who know and befriend Emily. In the pilot, their friendship is some kind of weird cause they establish from the beginning that Emily shows a very different side to Ashley and just uses her to get in touch with the Graysons.
You want to get drunk on cheap margaritas later?
With or without you. Not to mention your new next-door neighbor.
Queen Victoria.
Believe me, she's earned the title. And that is Queen Victoria.
I think she spotted you.
Good. Introduce us.
But I also got the kind of feeling that Ashley was using Emily as well. Not only in a financial way but with her connections. So I guess their relationship was always some kind of a business transaction. Yet with Emily and Daniel getting close very fast and Tyler showing up, their friendship becomes some kind of a love and hate relationship. Ashley is obviously jealous of Emily because everything seems to fall into place for her that easily. Since she does not know about her real background, Ashley assumes Emily is just another spoiled rich girl who lives with no worries after she inherited all that money from her father. So she is the first who falls for her all sunshine and roses act. But Ashley is also the first who calls her out and sees her very cruel, unforgiving and cold side.
I don't know what's going on with you lately, but you're becoming a real grade A bitch.
On Tyler's behalf, she calls Emily several times out how much she lacks of sympathy and common empathy.
How are you holding up with all this Tyler business? Must be awful, realizing that you spent the entire summer dating Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
He's not a monster, Emily. He's sick. It's called empathy. You might want to try a little.
Both Victoria and Tyler, who only think the worst of Emily, seem to drive some kind of a wedge between the two ladies.
I hired you because you're the best at what you do, and because you're close with Emily.
Well, as close as anyone can be to a person like her.
Were you surprised that she and Daniel moved in together so quickly?
No, not entirely. She knows how to get what she wants.
What do you mean by that?
Just that she can be tricky. Don't even get me started on Emily.
You know she's the worst of them all, right? I mean, at least Victoria will look you in the eye and tell you you're not good enough, but Emily will just think it and hide behind that condescending smile of hers.
Would have been cool if they took the time to explore this more. Ashley's ambition to make Emily pay could have culminated in an obsession over the woman who seemingly stole her boyfriend and ruined her career. Yet I guess with Fomander around, they just had no time to explore this ambiguous relationship more. But it would have given Ashley's character more depth and maybe would have gave her a more interesting story arc in season 2. So again, I can understand why she left the show, too, after season 2. Which brings us to another not so less important figure in Ashley's life at the beginning of season 2, Daniel Grayson. I think this twist in the finale was one we had seen a long time before. And I am still wondering why they did not use this love triangle more. I mean, from the beginning and even more after Tyler died, it was obvious that Emily and Ashley would at some point be opponents for Daniel's heart.
Are you proposing to Emily?
She doesn't need to know until Emily says yes. You think she will?
Well, after your lengthy courtship, who wouldn't?
What happened to being Emily's best friend?
Daniel, you picked a really lovely ring. This is about Daniel.
Why are you telling me this?
Because you're my friend. If I were you, I would want to know whether or not my boyfriend's motives were pure before he became my fiancé.
For a girl that ambitious as Ashley, it must have been the golden opportunity to get involved with Victoria's son. And since Victoria seemed to grow in some kind fond of her, even if it was only to help her getting dirt on Emily, it could have been some kind of likely that she would have accepted Ashley more on Daniel's side. Obviously it was no loyalty that kept Ashley from going after Daniel before or even while he was together with Emily. I think she always felt inferior to Emily, so she did not even consider that Daniel could have noticed her or even leave Emily for her. And I think telling Daniel about Emily's and Jack's kiss was not only a tactical maneuver. She truly cares for Daniel's happiness, and in season 2 when they are together, Ashley seems to be truly in love with Daniel. Her bad conscience while spying on him for Conrad feels never out of place or fake.
You didn't call me back.
Because there's nothing to report. Daniel only has your best interests at heart. And as for me, I am done being your little spy.
So I think she felt compassion for Daniel when she saw how badly Emily was treating him and how hard Daniel was falling in love while Emily always seemed that cold-hearted. Too bad that they only made the two hook up to make them split as fast as possible. So that Daniel was free for Emily again. Okay, I like the little takedown and that they took the time to show us how Emily's scheming is hurting Ashley.
If she's the bar by which you measure fidelity, then there's something you need to know.
Ashley?
Daniel? No, Daniel, this isn't what you think it is.
What is it exactly, huh? Well, let me guess. My father sent you here to screw good bait for his vote, didn't he? Is that what happened?
No.
You've been working for him this whole time, haven't you?
No, Daniel, please listen to me. Daniel, listen. No.
Get up! I mean, you said that.
But they did not care enough to make her want payback or at least try to fight back. Must have been not that hard for Ashley to find out that Emily was behind this to make Daniel break up with her. So instead of staying Conrad's little puppet and becoming his assistant after Victoria fired her, her going into war with Emily over Daniel, especially with her complicated relationship and feelings for Aiden in season 2, would have made a compelling story about jealousy and betrayal. They could have pursued different angles here. Most intriguing would have been if Emily was actually torn between Daniel and Aiden instead of seeing Daniel only as a target. And Ashley could have mirrored this dilemma by using Daniel to get even with Emily and satisfy her ambition by becoming someone similar to Emily in terms of status and wealth. They could have even get so far as keeping Emily and Daniel apart. Ashley would have become his new fiancé instead of an only part-time romantic interest, which could have given Emily the opportunity to fuel Daniel's jealousy by going public with her relationship and becoming Aiden's fiancé out in the open, instead of betraying Daniel with Aiden in season 2 and 3. They could have make them both betray their partners. Ashley would cheat on Daniel with Emily's fiancé Aiden, and Emily would return the favor by sleeping with Daniel and betraying Aiden instead of the other way around. Even the pregnancy plot from season 3 could fit here. 'Cause Ashley called Emily out on her narcissistic behavior and Machiavellian scheming before. Like Victoria, she would have immediately known this was a see-through lie to bring Daniel either to break up with Ashley or if he was back together with Emily and had to choose between Ashley and Emily to keep him on Emily's side. Ashley would have not given up without a fight, and she could have been far more dangerous for Emily since they had a history. For Sarah, she was only losing a boyfriend and maybe even was okay with it in the first place since it was only a rekindled romance and they broke up before. But for Ashley, there would have been more at stake since her whole future depends on her connection to the Graysons. She would have nothing left to lose. And maybe just wanted to take Emily down with her by exposing some of her secrets. Let's move back to season 1 and talk about the other boyfriend of Ashley, Tyler Barrol. This pairing seemed to be born out of a mutual need for an ally in this dangerous and cold world of the Hamptons. Though I hated how see-through it was that Tyler goes after Ashley Cause as Victoria's assistant, she is obviously the one who knows all the dirty little secrets.
Now I see why he comes home for the summer. I'm sorry, but I didn't catch your name.
I didn't give it to you.
But it was fun seeing them slander Emily and the Graysons. 'Cause while we see all the bad behavior and failures on behalf of the Grayson side, we tend to overlook how false Emily's actions sometimes are. Especially in season 1 when she is all about getting her mission done and taking one by one down until she can move on to her actual targets: number 1, Victoria and Conrad Grayson. As I said before, I would have liked to see Ashley more involved in Tyler's scheming. But I guess his psychological disorder did not endure a partner. So Ashley is mostly seen with Victoria in season 1 and moves on to Team Conrad in the second season.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Thank you.
So this is the new communications director. Don't you know that politicians tend to keep their concubines in the closet?
Spoken like a woman that no one is sleeping with.
You'll be happy to hear that Ms. Davenport and I have put our past behind us, and we are now looking to the future.
Victoria using her as source of information about Emily as soon as she gets to know they are some kind of friends is only natural. She pursues every angle to get a clue about this mysterious girl that set her sights on her son Daniel.
Because she's interested in my son. Need I remind you what happened with that cocktail waitress Daniel fell for last summer? What is this girl up to?
You really don't trust her, do you?
Trust is the one luxury I cannot afford. Clearly, someone has to step in before my son makes another mistake. I hired you because you're the best at what you do, and because you're close with Emily.
Yet I am not quite sure what Ashley wants to gain here. Sure, she tries to establish a more intimate relationship with Victoria. That is why she is that happy when she gets to call her by her first name instead of Mrs. Grayson.
We'll make us a reservation. Victoria.
And I think during her trouble with the divorce, Ashley seems to be a real support for Victoria.
Are you all right?
I've had better mornings.
Well, don't worry. I'm sure you'll come out on top.
What makes you so sure?
Well, you're Victoria Grayson. You have 2 children who love you, friends who would do anything for you, an entire community that worships you. And you have me. Anything you need, I can take care of it.
Thank you. Ashley, Victoria's fine.
But I cannot quite understand why she is that loyal to Victoria and lets her friend Emily fall that quick. Victoria is using her as well as Emily and obviously keeps her hanging on despite her open ambitions to become more than just an assistant. Why did Victoria not give her the opportunity to get a new job in her community? She surely could have helped Ashley out. But I guess she was just not important enough to her. Especially after she and Emily got estranged. Interesting that she was so obsessed of Sarah and Emily and obviously with every other of Daniel's girlfriends, yet Ashley seems not to have caught her attention besides this video Emily sent to her phone. I guess Victoria knows best that Daniel is just with Ashley as some kind of distraction and waits for the right opportunity to get back together with Emily. Besides, with Conrad and the initiative, Victoria has enough to worry about. I must admit in season 1 it was some kind of fun seeing the dynamic between Ashley, Emily and Victoria. But trying to replace Victoria and Emily at once for Daniel with her was just ridiculous. Even if it was meant as a joke, her appearance in the first episode of season 2 did her character no favor.
You're so bossum.
Don't say that.
And make sure that is chucked before either of them come to view the place.
You are deceptively brilliant.
I learned from the best.
You meant Victoria, didn't you?
Yeah.
And instead of following the old pattern being some kind of a pet for the Graysons, it would have been far better if she had worked at eye level with the Graysons. Or even better if she switched teams and came back to Emily for help and an ally against the Graysons.
Ashley, what a surprise. I know it's been a long time. That's not what I meant. What are you doing here? It sounds like a threat. It's the truth. Those people are capable of more than you and Amanda could possibly imagine. Thanks for the heads up, Ashley.
I mean, she has seen and heard enough to blackmail them. But why would she do so only to get a better job?
I'm here to protect an investment. My time whilst in your family's employ. I believe I may still be owed a few dividends.
Blackmail. Is there anything that isn't beneath you?
I don't want hush money. I know where the bodies are buried. Proverbial and otherwise.
And excuse me, this bribing attempt with a new car. Is Conrad serious here? And is Ashley that easy and cheap to buy?
And don't forget this. Key to your new Lexus GS.
Excuse me?
You can either drive this out of the Hamptons forever, or you can drive it to your new parking space at Grayson Global.
Where was her self-respect when she got involved with Conrad? She has seen firsthand in season 1 how he treats women. First, his affair with Lydia, one of Victoria's best friends.
I want to make this right.
Then you never should have slept with my best friend.
And then how he treated his beloved wife during their divorce negotiations.
I did everything you asked for. And now you're prepared to throw your children to the wolves and leave me with nothing, all because of your wounded pride?
Well, it struck Barbara to send over my final proposal.
Besides, during Daniel's trial, she learned how far the Graysons are willing to go to protect their family members.
Does it matter to you if your clients are guilty?
I never asked.
Cynical.
What's your take on all this?
I think Daniel shot Tyler, and I think he's going to get away with it.
And yet you continue to work for the Graysons.
So why did she not break with the Graysons? Yes, she is ambitious and has little qualms. But even she should have known by now how dangerous the Graysons are.
Did you kill Amanda Clarke?
Good morning to you too, Miss Davenport.
That's why you chose yesterday to announce your gubernatorial run, isn't it? You needed an audience for your alibi.
It's ridiculous.
Horrific, some might say.
Unless, of course, this is your roundabout way of tendering your resignation.
And how quick she could become a casualty.
Didn't think so.
Or a liability as all the other Grayson employees who went away. First of all David Clarke and later Frank and his surrogate Lee Moran. Again I think they went the easy way with Ashley and only followed an obvious path by making her collude with Conrad while Victoria is out of the picture and does not trust her anymore. For good reasons, by the way, cause she was the one who leaked Daniel's pictures during his trial at the end of season 1.
And I know you leaked those photos of Daniel to the press.
I did what anyone would do. You can't get beyond working for someone like Victoria Grayson without breaking a few rules.
Which shows how ruthless Ashley can be when she follows her ambitious goals. Here she wanted to get a ticket out of the Graysons' life by becoming an employee of Daniel's lawyer. So maybe she already got aware in what danger everyone close to the Graysons finds himself. So far this could have been a typical story about an ambitious young girl who tried to make it by cozying up with a wealthy family. First strictly professional as an assistant and later by pursuing the most wanted bachelor of the family, Daniel Grayson. By the way, I like that they break the known pattern here with her affair with Daniel's father Conrad. Cause it is obvious that he was exploiting her vulnerable and ambitious character. When Victoria calls Conrad out and shows us that his betrayal of his son's trust was worse than Ashley's.
Don't pretend for 1 second that you give a damn about that boy. You have wormed your way into the very nadir of repugnance. Sex with your son's girlfriend? Really, Conrad?
You and I were divorced.
Oh, so you say. It could have happened this morning for all I know.
He offered to help me, money and a job. Put yourself in the same position. Can you honestly say that you wouldn't have done the exact same thing?
Cause he is the predator here. While Ashley is just trying to get back on track with one Grayson. It is a shame that besides Emily and the Graysons, Ashley has no real ties to other characters. I liked their attempt in season 2 to bring her near Jack and baby Carl.
Ashley, I thought you hated babies.
Turns out Carl's the exception. He's quite the little charmer.
I actually would have liked if they gave her a shot with Jack. Maybe his influence would have made a better person out of her. Her caring for baby Carl showed a more soft side of Ashley. They could have gone in a total different direction with her character if her ambitious side would have been boiled down. Since her only activities on the show seems to be damage control and blackmail. Yet he was absolutely not her type, cause he had zero ambitions and just lost his wife. So he had no interest in getting a new girlfriend anytime soon. But I still love the scenes in which they are teaming up against Conrad.
I heard the way Conrad talked to you at the party.
Just a bad day.
I doubt that. Have they ever treated you well? I need your help, and I know you're not one of them.
I really thought her storyline and character was going into the right direction. Finally acknowledging how wrong the Graysons are and that Conrad has to be stopped. She even could have become Emily's and Jack's ally after he got to know who Emily really is. She could have filled the vacancy of a female ally when Amanda died. So I was the more deceived seeing her blackmailing Emily in the first episode of season 3, her last on the show.
Ashley's been deported?
A cool alternative storyline for Ashley could have involved Aiden. Instead of this lame story with Ashley trying to become an escort lady for the same Russian mobster who trafficked Aiden's sister Colleen. What a coincidence. And his even more lame affair with Nico Takeda's daughter, he could have been involved with Ashley. Since both are from England, they could have known each other. He was from London and she came from Croydon, which is a borough in South London. So they could have been neighbors. Maybe she was his girlfriend or at least a friend who grew up with him. Ashley could have shed some light into his past. Especially his backstory with Colleen and the scandal around his father. As I said in my character study of Aiden, they had such a good opportunity to make us invest in his character and his trauma if they actually showed us the night Colleen was kidnapped. Instead of just telling us about it and choosing to make him find his killed father. But I guess the writers are not interested in strong sibling relationships. Emily and Charlotte are estranged nearly the entire show. Daniel and Charlotte hardly have more than 10 or 20 scenes alone together to show us some Grayson family bond here. The only exception were Jack and Declan. If you count chosen siblings and family, and Nolan and Amanda have a fine sibling dynamic with Emily. But if you think about all the family ties and connections in the show, that is very poor. But I strayed too far. Let's go back to Ashley. I always waited for a deeper connection here in season 2. Especially after that flashback episode. They lost so much potential with that Colleen storyline and Aiden's backstory. And why did they connect Ashley to this anyway? Was there a plan to give her some kind of connection to Colleen's kidnapping or even to the initiative? I mean, this scene with Emily in which she not even got to see her leads to nothing. Either Emily nor Ashley seemed to recognize each other in season 1 or before. Emily just chose her randomly as a fake friend to get close to the Graysons. Here only qualification had to be working for the Graysons and being easily manipulated. If they had Ashley and Daniel not broken up that fast and in a way that there was no going back, Daniel could have used her to dig up something about Aiden's past and family. They could have worked against Emily and Aiden, who would have been by the time still a pair out in the open.
Hello, Lady Macbeth.
Ashley's turning Daniel against you.
That's the problem. What's the solution?
We turn Daniel against Ashley.
And with a secret affair of Ashley and Aiden or Daniel and Emily behind their backs, maybe even both. They had unlimited sources for drama and conflicting feelings here. And as I said, a far better love triangle than the one with Emily, Daniel and Aiden. 'Cause it becomes more and more apparent in season 2 that Emily and Daniel just are not fitting for each other. And in season 3 they are moving over to the more silly and fruitless love triangle between Emily, Aiden and Jack. Which could not go on full speed because we all knew Emily and Jack were endgame. So either Aiden had to loose or they had to keep it on hold till the next season. Anyway, with Ashley there was much unused potential than just being the Graysons' lapdog. And her romantic love interest were even worse than Victoria's choice of men. In fact, she mirrors Emily's role as an unwilling black widow, cause all her former boyfriends turn out to be dead by the end of the show. First psychopath Tyler, then Conrad with whom she just had a one-night stand, and last but not least his son Daniel. A better fit who also survived Emily's vendetta would have been Nolan. And in the pilot they made him flirting with her. Yet we will never know if he meant this serious or Nolan just wanted to mock her. However, he would totally fit into her dating praise system. Nolan is super rich, ambitious and has a big heart. Only his quirkiness may stand between them. And as I said earlier, Jack would have been an interesting yet unconventional choice for her. But maybe like with Emily, a small and cozy life with Jack far away from the Graysons and the crazy Hamptons world would have been good for her. Now to the last part, my favorite episodes and moments with Ashley. Her strongest season was definitely the first one. Though I liked her change of heart and working together with Jack in season 2.
Jack, we're friends now. She always seems to get what she wants. People like them always do.
Not him. Not this time.
Her plotting against Conrad made me hope she would join Team Emily in season 3. But since she left the show after one episode, they made her fall back into old patterns and blackmail Emily.
I'm coming to you.
For what?
Everything you have. I saw that look in your eye.
The night of the election.
You weren't there to save Conrad's life, you were there to save Jack's. And since I know how you still feel about him, I will stop at nothing to expose you to the Graysons for the fraud you really are.
Is that all?
No. We're just getting started.
Which made her finally a new target for Emily to take down.
It doesn't look like Ashley has that problem. Who knew besides us?
Only Dr. Velez. But I can't believe that he would destroy his career over this.
Unless he was a little too candid with someone he's interested in. And since Ashley wants money, I'm sure she netted a handsome payday by selling her story to the press.
Well, at least I tried to work for it as opposed to having everything handed to me.
It's funny, it seems as though he wanted me to hand everything to you. Get on that plane, go back to Croydon.
You two are evil.
I must admit, what made her so intriguing in season 1 was Tyler, who manipulated her to scheme against the Graysons.
No, I'm whatever I need to be whenever I need to be it. Look, I thought we agreed to step up our game. Anyway, the real question is, what are you doing? All I see is, yes, Mrs. Grayson, of course, Mrs. Grayson. You really want to be her lackey for the rest of your life?
No, of course not.
Well, then stop acting like one and get in the game like everyone else.
Though as an old-fashioned show, she left most part of the scheming to Tyler, while Ashley just complained about Emily and Victoria.
I can't stand that woman.
What'd she do now?
It's not what she's done, it's who she is. People like us are disposable to people like them. Don't even get me started on Emily.
Our problem is, we've been playing way too nice.
Her relationship with Victoria was something I wish they explored more instead of trying to make us believe she and Emily were actually friends. I mean, what insights can she offer Victoria if she is hardly seeing Emily and mostly alone without Daniel around? Which was weird considering that they make them hook up after Emily's and Daniel's breakup.
Good. I'm liable to get jealous with you out dressed like this.
Daniel, no one's ever been kinder to me than you. I just don't you know how much that means to me.
Well, that's nice. You're welcome, babe.
I can understand where Ashley's feelings are coming from, since she is working so closely with the Graysons and surely got a crush on the only male person in her age around the Grayson family. But how did Daniel fall for her if he barely saw her and only noticed Ashley as Emily's friend like he did with Nolan? Anyway, in season 1 she had a solid foundation to work with. Her role during Daniel's trial and her handling the media attention for the Graysons was really her best storyline. It showed that her ambition was not just there but that she also could use an opportunity like Tyler did.
Can you tell us anything more about Daniel's state of mind at the present moment?
I'm sorry, but we have no further comment at this time. Thank you so much.
Ashley, please just...
But again they took the wrong turn for Ashley in season 2. I mean, I could tolerate her being Daniel's new girlfriend as a distraction from Emily. And her trying to walk in Victoria's footsteps was a nice touch for the first episode. But making her Conrad's lapdog and following his orders instead of Victoria's was just such a poor choice. It drove her character back to the beginnings of the show even before Tyler showed up. As if Ashley had not learned anything from the last year. I mean, if she wanted to stay after all she has seen what was going on behind the scenes in Grayson Manor, she should have had an exit strategy. Her primal instinct should have been gather evidence to either blackmail the Graysons or got to the police. Think about it, if she really wanted to threaten either one of the Graysons, let alone Daniel, who was the most soft target, she would have been in true danger. Ever since Fomander's death, Ashley must have known that.
I don't believe you.
Believe what you must. And while you're busy pointing fingers, bear in mind that not only were you an active participant, you were actually the architect to the deal.
I had no issue with Amanda. What happened to her is a tragedy.
So I despise the first half of season 2 for Ashley. Not only because she was a terrible choice as Daniel's new girlfriend.
I didn't realize that your son had stooped to dating the help. It's quite a downgrade from Emily Thorne.
Although they made a cute couple and he was genuinely good to her. But because she was following old patterns as if nothing had happened.
Only Ashley Davenport can whip together such an elegant gala so quickly.
Thanks, Emily. Glad someone appreciates that these parties don't just throw themselves. Tori, do you mind? We're actually in the middle of things.
And fully clothed. How refreshing.
Good morning.
Morning.
Where are you off to?
Daniel will fill you in. And after he does, do me a favor, don't take your eyes off him until I return. Pretty obvious he's up to something.
And rest assured I'll find out what it is.
Nonetheless, I enjoyed her little involvement in Jack's vendetta. I assume this was only due to the fact that Nolan, Aiden and Emily had enough on their plate with the initiative, Falcon and Padme. So Jack had to turn to Ashley as the only one in the inner circle of the Graysons who could have been an ally for him. And this was the best choice the writers made for Ashley in season 2. Finally having a change of heart and using her inside knowledge to take Conrad down. Sure, they had to fail cause Emily had to be the one who takes the Graysons down. But nonetheless it was fun to see both of them trying. And without any help of Nolan or Emily. Who I must say failed epically in season 2 with every mission and move they made against the initiative. If you think that this was only one of Conrad's hoax, it is a shame that neither Aiden nor Emily were getting behind the truth before Conrad told us.
Aiden, you need to go dark.
No, I can take care of
this. No, you listen to me. I have been through this before. I'm not going to sit back and watch the initiative turn you into their next David Clarke.
Anyway, what do you think of Ashley Davenport? Was she just an annoying character and you wished she had left the show sooner? Do you agree that her character had far more potential in season 2?
Hey, look at this smashing couple.
And what do you think about her relationship with Daniel and Emily?
Well, I'm just happy we can all be friends.
Let me know in the comments below.